All right, hello everyone. My name's Jeremy Cardy, and you're here in the 6-inch telescope dome at Kopernik Observatory. And tonight we are going to be observing the moon, maybe live, but more than likely it's going to be some previous footage that we collected just last night. Because we suspected, based on the weather forecast for our area, while it was clear last night, might not be that way tonight. In fact, we got rain almost out of nowhere. That wasn't in the forecast at all until very recently. So, and it still seems to be misting out there, not so much a hard pour or anything, but we'll see what happens. I'll poke my head outside every once in a while. Right now we do have the dome closed up. I can show you the scope right above me here. There's the 6-inch refractor telescope, and we do have it aimed roughly at the moon, but the dome's not open because we don't want to get the telescope wet. You can see the dome opening right, actually, roughly where the telescope is pointed. Just off to the left of that is the dome door. So we'll open that up if we find that we're going to have clear skies. Because, of course, I prefer to observe the moon live. I'm sure you do as well for our International Observe the Moon night. But the nice thing is we did get some footage from last night, and it's basically the phase difference in the moon is negligible. From day to day, you do add more light as we're approaching the full moon here. You'll definitely notice that from a day to day, but it's not significant. So we're not going to worry too much about that. And if we do get clear skies, we'll observe. A couple of things before we get started. First, with the footage that I have for you, I'm going to bring up, let's see, the observing screen here. Oh, and you know what? Let me quickly add, for some reason that got rid of my camera feed on this, so let me make sure that gets added. Aha, there it is, but that's too big. We're going to shrink me down here, and we'll drag it off to the right. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to, first, for anyone new, I wanted to show the Kopernik website. You can, of course, see our event list here. With International Observe the Moon night tonight. We just had a great presentation from the Gemini Astronomy Club, so I thank them for providing some great background for our tour tonight. And then we're going to continue doing these observing live streams. We still haven't gotten the deep sky stuff figured out quite yet. We tried it with the 14-inch on our last observing stream, but we're going to actually have to get another part to make that work. But I do have a telescope that I know that works. The 6-inch works pretty well, although it does not have go-to function, meaning I can't just telescope where to go in the sky, so it becomes harder to find the dim stuff that's out there. But my telescope does have a go-to function, and we can start there, and I've been already doing some deep sky imaging that we have a couple of those photos up on Facebook and Instagram if you wanted to check those out. Then those came from my 8-inch Newtonian scope. So that's probably what we'll try next time. But tonight, it's all about the moon. So if we do open up the scope, we'll probably stay focused on that. But otherwise, we'll just be sticking to that footage. One more thing I want to show you. This is a really handy tool on our website. It's a great... I suggest you bookmark this page, because it is really handy. It's the clear sky chart for Kopernik. So, of course, this only covers our observatory and the surrounding Vestal area. But I guess just our part of the southern tier, you'd be safe to follow this. But it's specific data according to where we're located. And you can see this blue on the Saturday hours here. That is promising, and I'm hoping as we head towards 9 and 10 o'clock, we'll get some openings and be able to do some actual live streaming of the moon. But as of right now, it's still a little bit clouded over. But the seeing, that tealish color isn't great, but it means we should be able to peek through the clouds somewhat. And I'm hoping that remains to be the case, and things didn't change too much. So that's how you read it. Basically, the darker the blue, the better in each of these categories. So the last week was actually really nice. as far as the conditions went. But of course, our big observing event on Saturday clouds up a little bit. So that's a great tool for you. Now, directly related to International Observe the Moon Night, there is a NASA website, because this is a program and a worldwide event that's heavily sponsored by NASA and promoted by them. So I wanted to direct your attention to this site. Now, if we were doing an in-person program, we'd be able to provide all these materials to you directly, and that's generally how you're supposed to go about it. Now, I'm not sure if we posted these on Facebook, but they might be there. Either way, you can go to this site, basically just search International Observe the Moon Night, and it'll be the first link. And under the How to Host section, it gives you some event materials. So this is the best way for you to access them yourself. This is a totally public website, so you should be able to find all these yourselves. And under Lunar resources, there's some great tools here, including a moon map. Let's click on that. I think this is actually a multi-page item. Let me grab the... do I want to... Yeah, I guess we'll just download it, and I'll be able to get it to pop up down here. Once I have to, I guess it's taking a moment to download while I stream here. But it is a multi-page document. It's not just this first page, which is talking about the different Apollo site landings from 11 to 17. And let's open up the main file here in PDF. There we go. I'm going to zoom out a touch. So this is a great tool if you want to do your own scavenger hunt. I'll be following this to some degree. There's some, if we can really push the magnification tonight, we can even do some very specific Apollo site landing locations and see if we can find the exact spot. That does require some ideal seeing conditions, but we'll see what we can do if it does clear up. So there's a bunch of features you can follow on here, from craters to mountains, and again, I have a packet right next to me of this material that I'll be following. So you're welcome to do that as well. Here's a great page explaining the different mare that you can find across the surface. Let's get rid of that. There was one other one in here. This is a great one if you have kids. It's a great family activity. You can put together a moon observation journal, and it's not specific for any given month. You can just put the date and time into each category, and the idea is you color in the phase. You can even add some of the larger details in your field of view, and you just record the date and time, and you can track how the moon changes throughout the month. Now, this is not so much the position in the sky. That's another thing entirely. But you could also build your own observation journal that follows that. There's lots of observational science that you can do with the moon that's great for young astronomers. So that's a great tool. And is there anything else I wanted to mention? I think that's about the two big ones I wanted to mention. There's also some presentations you can find in here if you want to learn more about the moon. There's Apollo mission images. I think that directs you to the Apollo gallery. I do not want to take a survey right now, NASA. So you can see the Saturn V launches. You can see actual surface data, images taken on the moon by the astronauts. So that's a great resource as well. And it's not just the Apollo missions. You can explore well beyond that. There's all the missions that NASA have done. They have a similar gallery that you can explore. So I really just wanted to take this opportunity to connect this program to NASA because they're actually even doing their own stream now as well, and they heavily promote this International Observe the Moon Night because it is an opportunity for us all to look up at our nearest celestial neighbor, try and observe it, together and understand its place in our history and the Earth's history as well. It has cultural significance, it has scientific significance, so this is our opportunity, of course, out of many during the year, but it's a focal event for the moon. So, let's see. I want to switch on over to Stellarium here. Stellarium is a planetarium program that you can run at home. In fact, why don't we jump on over to the website here. It's stellarium.org. You should maybe just about be able to see what's in my address bar, but it's stellarium.org. And it is a open source software, so you can download it for Linux, Mac OS, Windows. There's even a Stellarium web version for Chromebooks and mobile devices. They also have an app on the App Store. I think you do have to pay for it, though. They might have a light version. But there's a variety of apps like this on the App Store that you can explore, too. And let me show you what it looks like. So that's the website you can download it at. It is free to download on their site. And this is what it looks like. So it is, you can just point and click and drag the sky around. Now, you'll probably notice that the frame rate on it isn't that great, and that is because I am running the streaming software, and I'm on a laptop. So I think I'm taxing the system a little bit running multiple heavy programs like this. But I will probably close it down as soon as we're done here. But let me make sure we're at the current time. Yep, this hourglass means current time. So we're at 8:19 p.m. And you can see the moon is out as well as Jupiter. Let's go ahead and travel through time because planetariums are time machines. So you can accelerate time. I think you can go up to 100,000 years in the future. The sky is, for all these visible objects that are out there, it's easy to predict where the planets will be, or the stars will be on a 100,000 year time scale. Things will not change. The orbits are easily predictable. So we have the moon, Saturn, and Jupiter. There goes a satellite whooshing up. So let's... Yep. Okay.
Should I check inside?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Oh, it looks like it's going. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. So, sorry, everyone. I think we're back online here. We had a hiccup in our Wi-Fi out at the domes, and that unfortunately caused the stream to cut out. But I was able to jump back into the original stream, so I'm happy that worked. Let me get rid of this here. Okay. Let me bring Stellarium back up. We won't spend too much more time in Stellarium, just in case if that caused any problems. Like, oh, see, it got rid of my location data again. All right, so let me go back to Binghamton and bring up the ecliptic again. Oops, that's the grid, which is also useful, but we're just going to stick to this ecliptic. Okay, so again, there's the moon, Saturn, and Jupiter all in a line. Let's see what happens when we travel through time. So this is just traveling minute by minute faster through the night. So we can see we're setting in the southwestern sky there. This is how the moon is moving this evening. We're already at 1 o'clock. Actually 2 o'clock now in the morning. Oh, look at, there's Orion. All right. We'll stay focused on the moon. There's so much exciting things to look at. You can also see Mars here which is a great object to observe. As we head into October, we'll be getting closer and closer to it as we reach opposition. All right, so let's go back to the hourglass, and let's take a look day by day how the moon moves. This is where this tool comes in handy. So instead of using the hours and just using the media bar to control that, I'm going to click the days. So we're September 26, 2020. Let's see how the moon moves. You see how it backtracks towards the east? Ooh, already into October. October 1st. Ooh, October 2nd. Looks like there's a pretty cool conjunction between the Mars and the moon. Let's see how close it gets. Well, not too bad. Nice binocular view, I think. Nice wide. You really need a nice wide binocular view, but that could be cool to see. Keep an eye out on October 3rd for that. Again, let's keep going day by day. I'm gonna click off the moon. Click off that. There we go. Click off that object. You can see the moon continues to backtrack towards the east in the sky. And it's getting closer and closer to the sun. Let's click through the hours here. You can see it keeps approaching the sun, and this is new moon, when you can't see the moon anymore at all. And I mean, honestly, at this, if you back it up a day, you see the moon's right there. It'd be really difficult because if we click on it, you'll see the moon. It's just a little sliver. So you got to know exactly where it is to have any hope of seeing that little sliver of the moon. And it's so close to the sun, you won't be able to see that with your eye. Okay. Again, we can see this is, you know, when we're approaching the sun, that is, you're approaching new moon, and it's called waning. So approaching full moon is waxing, approaching new moon is waning. So once we pass the sun, day by day, past the sun, there's new moon, and now we're waxing again and adding light to the moon. Approaching full moon. We're already a month ahead. Oop, there's Halloween. Ooh, and the Taurids. Yeah, the Taurids are coming out. I've heard good things about those. That I just wanted to show you basically a month-long view of how the moon moves across the sky. It's really easy to predict and also figure out where in the cycle of the lunar phases you are, and the lunar month, you can think of it like that. Because the months are loosely based on the moon. The moon takes 28 days to orbit around the Earth. Okay, so that's Stellarium, a really powerful tool for you to use at home and elsewhere during your own observing. So I'll click off that. And again, you can go to stellarium.org to download that. Okay, let me take a look at stream here and make sure everything is going all right. I think we're going to get to our lunar footage next. I just want to make sure things are running. Next. Sorry about if there was any echo there. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like we're all running okay. Let me check to see if there's any questions in the chat. Doesn't look like it at the moment. Oh, I do have someone asking if I can reintroduce myself. Yes, I am Jeremy Carty. I'm an educator here at Kopernik Observatory and Science Center. And we've been doing some of these observing live streams for a while now, throughout the summer. And now we're going to continue that into the fall, because we do have some pretty exciting events coming up, like one tonight being the International Observe the Moon Night, However, again, I'm not 100% sure if the skies will cooperate. I do have some lunar footage from just last night because it was clear last night, so I wanted to make sure I got something for you all. And yeah, so Kopernik is a observatory here in Vestal, New York, and we have 3 dome telescopes, the one right behind me. Let me make sure I frame this up right. Let's see. There we go. Just needed to see what my camera was seeing. So this is the 6-inch refractor telescope. This is what we'll use to stream the moon if, in fact, it does clear up. And it's a F12 refractor, and that means it's really long, and it's we call it a superplanetary refractor. So it is ideal for observing the brighter planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Venus, but it's also great for the moon. And we can even do some decent deep sky work with it. Maybe not, imaging it can be iffy on it for deep sky, but it's great for imaging the planets. We've done some of that already. And again, we'll do some imaging of the moon if it clears up at all. So let me go ahead and take us over to the video footage I have prepared for you. And I'll be able to narrate it on our stream here. I think that's the best way to go about it. And again, NASA does have on this site here, if you search in Google International Observe the Moon Night, you can go to How to Host and Event Materials, and that gives you some moon maps, a moon observation journal that you can use throughout your lunar journey. And the observation journal is especially cool for young astronomers because it gives them the opportunity to track these objects like the moon in the sky themselves. And it can inspire them to, go beyond the moon, go check out the planets, the stars, how does everything move in the sky, and really build up that map in your mind. So I really recommend this one. I'll show it to you quick if you haven't seen it, just because I know we're getting some new viewers as time goes on. So I might bring this up on occasion throughout the stream. But this is the Moon Observation Journal, and it's not any specific month. You choose the month, you choose the dates, the times, and you can fill in the phases. You can even go beyond that and fill in its position in the sky relative to the horizon, or other stars, or the planets, and so on. And really track it yourself. Okay. Now I'm going to be using the lunar map that NASA provides. Oh wow, you can tell it's really humid out here because this paper is actually like damp. So that's kind of crazy. But the moon map right here is what I'm going to use, and this will give me information on the Apollo missions and where to find those. If we have the chance to do a live stream of the moon, we can really push the magnification and see if we can find the very specific site where they landed. We won't be able to see any of the things they left behind. I don't think the seeing or our telescope will be give us that much resolution. But NASA does have satellite photos that you can explore and see the actual remnants of the Apollo missions. In fact, you can actually, if you ever go up to the moon yourself, bring a battery along with you and plug it into the lunar rover. It'll still work because there's no erosion or anything or weather systems on the moon. You don't have to worry about the electronics. Well, I guess beyond if there is any radiation effects. That could be a concern. But as far as I know, I've heard if you just bring a new battery, it'll work. Then we'll also explore some craters and the mare that we can see. And this map is great for that. Okie doke. Let's get that video footage up. So I have a few different files here, from wide angle to medium field of view to a really zoomed in field. And I'll explain what cameras I use throughout. Actually, why don't I go grab those quick while I'm thinking about it? I just realized I don't have them up here. these were all taken, all this video data was taken last night. So the phase is very similar to the current phase of the moon. And we used this telescope, the 6-inch refractor, paired with a couple different cameras to get the different levels of zoom. And we'll check those out. I think we'll start with the one of the wide angle shots. And let me just check the audio settings because I didn't have time to remove the audio data. And we don't necessarily need the random conversations we were having last night popping up. So I'll just make sure my mic's on still, and yep, the audio is off. Okie doke. Let's see, I think this one is when I changed the resolution to be a little bit higher, so this should be a nice crisp shot. Yeah, we'll do a full screen view of this and start playing it here. And I think this is a correct view of the moon. It's not flipped or anything. So it's as you expect the moon to be, as it was last night in the sky. And I'll show you the camera here that I used. This video file is running at 4K resolution. So it's a really high quality, crisp view of the moon. Now it's not streaming to you over 4K, but some of that crispness will still move over the stream, even though it's running at like 1080p on the stream right now. I can, if anyone's interested, I can post these video files on the YouTube channel in 4K, if anyone wants to see them up close. So just let me know in the chat if that interests you. Make sure I bring up. Oh, I got some questions here, maybe. Or maybe not. Okay, geez, just conversations. I'm glad. What I really like about these live streams is the opportunity to come together as a community, and it's actually, our community has grown quite a bit over the last few months, and I just love that everyone shares their observing stories, like what the conditions are like in a given area, how's the moon look there, things like that. That's what I really want to encourage in our chat, is just to have those conversations and share the night sky together. And yeah, okay, so I do have some people saying that, yeah, we may be posting the full resolution files on our channel. So we'll probably do that. I'll put together a little montage, I guess, of those files at full res. So the camera I used for this video, we hooked it up to the scope. I have to use a special adapter. So if you want to know the specific name for the camera, it's a Sony I forgot it already. Hang on. A7 III, I think it is. It's a mirrorless camera. So you can think like if you had a DSLR in the past or currently, you can think of it like that. It's just basically minus the mirror mechanism on the inside. And this is a full frame sensor too, so it's a bigger sensor as well. And you don't have this lens, obviously, that's coming through on your end. You don't have the lens. You pop that off and put on this adapter. So I have this all prepared tonight. The material's ready to go. If at any point it does clear up, we'll switch from this video footage to, let me see if I can expand my camera view without covering up the moon. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So this camera paired with this adapter, it's a 2-inch telescope adapter for the eyepiece that fits right into, bring this down a little bit, fits right into here on the telescope, the bottom eyepiece section. That's a 2-inch eyepiece holder, so we can just fit this camera right onto it and focus to the moon or whatever object we're looking at. So that's one option. That gives you a nice wide field view of the moon like we see here. Now you can also pair that with what's called a Barlow lens. And a Barlow lens is designed to take your current field of view. I'm going to move this back up so I don't hit my head. Take your current field of view and magnify it for a set amount. So in this case, our Barlow lens that we used last night was, I think, 2.4x. So it takes your field of view from that camera and multiplies it 2.4 times. And it zooms in a fair bit. Let me show you that. I got that down here. If I remember correctly, this video is pretty... how far are we into it? Let's see here. Oh, we already finished it. We can play one of the other ones, other wide angle shots while I finish talking about... Let's see, this one should work. A little bit longer. Oh, we don't need the audio though. Okay. So, and I promise you, this is it's very stable because this telescope is tracking. It does track the moon. It can track any object you put it on. It can't find it, like I mentioned earlier. It's not a go-to scope, but it will track the object with this mount down here. This is a equatorial motorized mount, so it's lined up with the North Star, and it's able to track all these objects across the sky. You do have to change the rate for the moon especially, because it will move across the sky throughout one evening, as you saw in Stellarium. It'll move different from a stellar background. And also the planets might shift a little bit too, especially the ones that are closer to us. That's more, the planetary movement is more on a monthly scale where you notice it significantly. But they will change throughout the evening, very slightly. So you may need a different rate for those two. But that's what this mount does. It's a tracking mount. So that's why our view of the moon is so stable. And we'll do some tour features in just a bit. I think that's better served for the higher magnification views. But I can probably, with the mare, I'll point out the mare on these wide angle shots because that's where, when we really zoom in, those features are so large that it'll be hard to identify exactly which is which. Whereas with the wide angle, we'll be able to see it without a problem. Okay, let me just quickly show you. The next view, again, is going to, it required my camera that I just showed you, and it required this, which is a 2.4x Barlow lens. Probably can't see the description on the side of the Barlow, but we put the camera into this. I guess probably you put this into the telescope first. That's how I did it last night. Safer that way. You lock it in place, and then you put the camera on top of that. You may need to rebalance the scope because you've extended the telescope that much further out, and you add a heavy camera on the back of it, you're drastically increasing the torque on the scope. So you may need to rebalance a bit, but that's what we used for the next view that I'm going to show you, where we bump the magnification up 2.4 times. Okay. So while we have this wide angle shot, oh, that's what am I seeing? Yeah, there's some hazy clouds moving in front of the image. You might be able to see them. Not super thick ones. I remember that last night. There were some thin clouds moving across the moon. You can see one just at the bottom there. Okay. Let me take a quick look outside just to see if there's any progress in the sky. Nope. Still pretty clouded up. But I'll keep watching. So if we ever can get a live view, we can try that. Oh yeah, there's a nice thicker batch of clouds passing in front. It is kind of cool to see Earth clouds pass in front of the moon. What's really cool, and you can look these pictures up online, and it's something our director, Drew Desker, and I have expressed interest in to see the ISS and get an image of the ISS or multiple frames of the ISS passing in front of the moon. The ISS being the International Space Station. So we'd love to do that at some point because you can have neat transits like that. Sometimes you can see a bird fly in front of the moon, bird flying way off in the distance, a bug, anything like that. There must have been a gust. It's funny. There was a gust of wind just now in real life, and it almost looked like it lined up with our field of view. I got to keep reminding myself that this is not live. It is our video footage from last night. But it's funny. Okay. So why don't we bump up the magnification and I'm almost phrasing it like it's live, but we'll bump it up to where we had it last night with the Barlow lens and the camera, and we'll take a look at how it looked then. So I think this one is the better one. Yeah, so you can see we're magnified now, and again, that's magnified 2.4x from where it was. And let's take a look. You can actually, already in the image, you can see these tiny little craters showing up. So this is a really good view. Now, actually, I should have mentioned this before in the wide-angle shot, but that's okay because we can even see a more exaggerated effect here. As I mentioned, the reason NASA chose this phase is because of the terminator across the surface, where the light meets the dark. And along that terminator, you get some really exaggerated details in the craters because you have these shadows. It's actually also why you're seeing these really bright spots on the moon, because you're having the light interact with the sunlight, or rather the moon interact with the sunlight more directly, bouncing off those craters back to us. So you get these highlights in the craters. So if you imagine the sunlight is coming this way, hitting the moon this way, you get these strong, bright highlights on the edges of the craters. So that's what we're seeing there. And you can see the shadows within them as well on these little tiny ones. And you get a sense of how deep they are, too, using these shadows. But right down here along the terminator, look at how crisp these craters look because of that contrast between the light and the dark. Really nice effects there. And if I start playing, we can start hunting for objects in craters. Let me bring this back up to full screen. You can see I was able to pan around. I hope my media bar goes away. There we go. I was able to pan around the image. I love, actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll start pointing things out. Let's see. I gotta go to this. There we go. So, yep, yeah, this mountain range here, right here, was a really nice feature last night, and it would be tonight as well. That mountain feature is called Mount Haemus, I think, or at least in part. Mount Haemus is the largest part of it. There's also Mount. And I apologize. A lot of these are Latin, and I do not know how to pronounce some of them. But there's also Mount Apenninus, I think it is. Yeah, so Mount Haemus, Mount Apenninus. There's also, there's one I know. Mount Archimedes is in there, because Mount Archimedes is right. Let's see, make sure I get it right. This is Archimedes crater. And Mount Archimedes is right there, right next to the crater. If you've ever heard of hidden Mickeys, if you've gone to Disney before, here's a hidden Mickey. That is Ptolemaeus, This big one here is Ptolemaeus. And this one is Alphonsus, excuse me. Alphonsus. And this one is Albataginius, I think. Just below that, there was another one called Parrot. Again, there's Archimedes. What's this one up here? Plato. Oh, yeah. Plato. Philosopher. That is Mare Imbrium. This is where, I'm playing with the original footage. So it becomes a little bit difficult to actually... Mare Imbrium is right here. Mare Imbrium, and then we have Mare... well, I guess this is... Some of these also have more English names, like the translated version, because Mare is sea. So we can translate this. Imbrium probably has a more direct translation, but I can't think of it. Sea of Imbrium. I know that's not right, but this one I know is Mare Serenitatis, I think. But that translates to the Sea of Serenity. And then below that, Mare Tranquillitas is the Sea of Tranquility. So Mare directly translates to sea. All right, let's get back to playing here. This one is Mare Crisium. That nice circular one. And this is probably one of my, besides Copernicus crater, of course. And unfortunately, while we would just see it tonight, and again, another reason why I really hope the moon starts peeking through the clouds, Copernicus crater was not visible last night, but it would just be visible along the terminator, and we might get some really cool shadow effects on it if we're able to observe it. But this is one of my favorite smaller craters on the moon, and I say that, and I've already forgot its name. Proclus crater. It's sort of a tri-star. Do you see these lines coming off of it? They're almost triangles, each of them. And that is some ejecta material. So when you get an impact on the moon, material starts to fly up. And there's lower gravity on the moon too, so a lot of this material goes a lot further than it would like somewhere on the Earth. Now it also depends on the impact. If there's more energy behind the meteor, then of course you also have more material getting thrown up into the above the moon's surface. I was going to say into the air or something, but you can't call it that on the moon, right? Of course, here on Earth, when we have impacts, it falls a lot quicker because we have more gravity, and we also have air resistance too, and that will slow down some of that material as well. But sometimes you get impacts so large that material will reach escape velocity and get away from its home body. So it might leave the moon or it might leave Earth. And when you have impacts like that, that's where you can have sharing of material between different planets, for instance, in the solar system. So why you could find actual Martian rock on Earth, because a big impact happened on Mars and that material made its way to our planet. That's why we can have moon material come to Earth, or Earth material go to Venus, or something like that. Oh, that's what's touching my head, the telescope. Just barely grazing it. Okay, so that's one of my favorite tiny craters, Proclus. Okay. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I need to bring up, I keep forgetting to look at the comments here. There we go. Oh, yes, there we go. So we have some people tuning in. with Imbrium is rains. Okay, so thank you, NWell Elves. And Melissa says Mare Imbrium is the sea of showers. Thank you, Melissa. Get me out. I thought there was maybe a way to. I was checking to see if I could have direct translations to English. Actually, some of these are giving me. Hang on. I think I know. Might be an option here. Ah, yeah, there we go. Found it. Found the way to tell me what's what in English. So yeah, Mare Imbrium, Sea of Showers. Sea of Serenity is Mare Serenitatis or Tatus. Mare Sea of Tranquility is interesting in Latin. It's Mare Tranquillitatis, I think it is. Sea of... Oh yeah, let me point that one out. I didn't show that one yet. So below Mare Crisium, which is Sea of Crises, that's right. Sea of Crises. Down right here, we have Mare Fecunditatis. Jeez, I am not a good Latin speaker. But that is the Sea of Fecundity. I can't even see the English one. Fecundity. There we go. Or Fecundity. One of the two. And then Mare Nectaris. Let's see if do I pan down here? Yeah, maybe. There we go. Sea of Nectar. Right there. Okay. What other craters do I want to point out? I don't think we were able to see... No, I don't think we could see Tycho. Or could we? Let's see. Scroll over here. Tycho's a really nice crater. But I gotta try and identify it. Because we have Mare Nubium, which is Sea of Clouds. Right there. You can see our Mickey Mouse crater. I mean, really, you can do Mickeys all over the moon because there's so many craters, 3 craters right next to each other all over the place. But that one's pretty prominent. So this is Mare Nubium, Sea of Clouds, and Tycho's around here somewhere. So let's travel down towards the bottom and see if it actually was visible last night. So right, make sure I'm finding it. Yep, this one right here is potatoes or patatas. Almost sounds like potatoes. So that's one crater. Let's go down to the next one. That is Garicus. Oh yeah, I think Tycho is visible. So this is... All right, yep. Then we have Ball crater right here. That is Ball, Ball crater. And then down one. Oh yeah, this is Tycho. So Tycho has all that ejecta material emanating from it, and you can see some of that here. It's easier to spot Tycho when you have a full moon, because you can follow all that ejecta material back to its source, but it really stretches out far. It's a deep crater, you can see, compared to all the others. Now, in part, that's because of the way the sunlight is positioned, but it is a deep crater, and all of this material flies off. You can see it really reaches out far. Like, you can keep following this material way out here. It's incredible. And it's on the other side too, the side we can't see. All right. Okay. Cool. Maybe we should go hunting for... We can always jump back to some seas and craters But maybe we should go hunting for some of the Apollo locations before we do the super zoomed in footage I have for you. Again, I do want to check, see if the moon's out. Let me take one full peek outside just to see how the sky is behaving. Yeah, see, I don't even see any moonlight getting through the clouds. No evidence of it yet, so we'll keep going here. Again, yeah, I want to check out some Apollo missions. So we should just go right down the line, right? Starting with Apollo 11. Okay. See, we'll back up here to the Sea of Tranquility. So here's the Sea of Tranquility right there. And the Apollo 11 landing was just down, make sure I have it right. Yep, right in here, in this region. And we can narrow that down a little bit. I'm gonna flip to next page. Sorry, I have some visitors in here, some little bugs. I'm not sure what they are, but if you, in case you're seeing me glance behind me, because I heard a buzz. Yeah, it's hard to see. I wonder if I can bring up that map on here. It's been, yeah, I saved it before. Let's see if we can really narrow this down. Apollo 11. It's right there. X marks the spot. So, let's look at the Sea of Tranquility. I just got to figure out these two craters. Ah, okay. I think. It looks right to me. Yeah, I think this is crater Ritter. And this is Sabine. So, let's see if we can find those on our view. Yeah, we'll have to push the magnification to the next camera. We'll look at that clip next. But from what I'm seeing here, there's that bug. Not sure what it is. I think this is Ritter, and this is Sabine, and that is Schmidt crater right here. So Apollo 11 should be right in here. Yeah. Yeah, because this right here is Moltke crater. So Apollo 11 is right in there. So we'll remember that when we zoom in and we come to the Sea of Tranquility. We'll see if we can find a more zoomed in view of Apollo 11. Then Apollo 12. Let's see where Apollo 12 is. We might not have been able to see Apollo 12 last night, because that would have been closer to Copernicus. Yeah, it's past Copernicus. So last night, it doesn't look like that one was very possible, because Copernicus is right in here, out of view. So we would have just seen Copernicus tonight, but yeah, Apollo 12 and I think 14 are out of our view in this image. Let's see here. Okay. And if anyone has any particular crater or sea they want to check out, or feature, mountain range, things like that, that you think would show up in this phase of the moon we have here, let me know in the chat, and I'll see if we can find it. Okay. Ooh, there he is. I'm not sure if it's a fly or what, but he greeted me at my computer. Sorry, I'm a little bit jumpy. You might have, if you've been watching me over the streams, buzzing gets to me a little bit sometimes. So I do jump, but don't worry, I'm okay. It's a moth or no, there is a moth too joining us, but that wasn't what came by my computer. Okay, it keeps things lively though, doesn't it? All the wildlife. All right. Apollo 15 is definitely visible. That's the next one that we can see, looks like, because I think for some reason, because they're in the mare, I can't quite see in that on my black and white view. Let's see, Apollo, yeah, 14 we can't see. And 15, yeah, we'll be able to find 15 in the mountain range there. Okay. Back up here. So, again, there's a couple different mountain ranges there. So 15 looks like it's hard to figure out exactly where, like the way they have it labeled on my map, it's strange. They don't exactly have it lined up as you'd expect. But I think, yeah, this is the mountain range, Mount Apenninus. And Apollo 15 would be almost right in between these two ranges. So this is Mount Caucasus up here. So it looks like it might have been right in between. Let's double check that. Apollo 15. Find our X marks the spot. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be hard to find. We'll have to see if we see a clearer picture in that, because it doesn't look like it's quite right in between. It's sort of in between the mountain ranges. So towering the Apennine Mountains. Yep. Okay. So we'll see if we find that when we travel up that mountain range in the more zoomed field. Let's try one more. Maybe 16? I think Apollo 16 is where it was with astronaut John Young. And that's usually where we get that mission is where we get our moon rock from when NASA lets us borrow that. That's the Apollo 16 mission. So I think we should go explore that one. So there are some craters, some smaller craters that we can use to find their X marks the spot location. But let's go back to our view here. It's just below the Sea of Tranquility, pretty close to where Apollo 11 landed. So, Apollo 16, here's Sea of Tranquility. Here is Sea of Nectar. So it's almost right in between. Jumping off from this point here, Apollo 16 was right in there. So again, when we get our narrow field of view, our zoomed in view, we'll go searching for the exact craters and see if we can find the exact location. Okay. Let me check the chat here and see if... Yeah, the English. Okay, thanks, Nick. The English translation is the Apine. Still don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the Apennines or something like that. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, Apollo 17. Yeah, I just talked about the lunar rover. I should. Thanks, Tish. I should go check Apollo 17 out here before we get our zoomed in view. Let's go up again towards the... This is just above the Sea of Tranquility and to the right of the Sea of Serenity. Back up here. Whoops, there we go. Okay. So it looks like we're in here. Yeah. Apollo 17 is right in here, next to the Sea of Serenity and just above the Sea of Tranquility. That's where Apollo 17 is, and we will see if we can find the exact location. Yeah, when we get our zoomed in field, that's another one that doesn't have a lot of big craters, just some tiny ones to identify. So why don't we transfer over, or maybe I'll let this finish playing through where I left it off before, which I think was right about there. We didn't quite. So I'll just let you enjoy this, me panning around the moon in this field of view, and then we'll switch over to the really narrow field that I got yesterday. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Also, I know we have, I think, well, maybe we have our banner going. I can't remember if I've seen it or not. Yeah, if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We were going to continue doing these live streams of the sky. I know tonight isn't working out as we hoped, but part of that is because we had to sync it up with International Observe the Moon Night. That's what this whole program is about. We had to stick to September 26th. But we found a way to celebrate anyhow, and I think our celebration has been pretty cool so far. And again, if it does clear up, we're going to do a live view from the scope. But this is all from last night. If you're new to the channel, though, please subscribe, like the video if you haven't liked it already. So hit that thumbs up. And yeah, we'll keep you up to date with some of the latest sky information. We have a lot of neat programs coming up, including we'll probably do something for the opposition of Mars, at least around when the opposition occurs, because that'll be the ideal time to observe. If you didn't notice, just a couple months ago, a bunch of countries around the world launched their Mars missions, and that's because we were approaching opposition. So now what they can do, what they did really, is they launched around July, like the next Mars rover. Why is the name escaping me? Current Mars rover's Curiosity. Oh, Perseverance is the new Mars rover. They launched in July, and now it's flying to catch up to Mars. You launched just before opposition, just a few months before opposition. and that'll be the best observing time. And I'm sure we'll have opportunities in October to get some good Mars views, and then we'll get some good processed images of Mars as well. It's not the ideal location some of the time because the seeing can only be average to good in this area. We're not going to have the most pristine seeing, but I think we'll get some pretty good shots. We got one recently where we actually were able to see one of the large dark features. I think it's called Syrtis Major on the surface of Mars, as well as one of the polar ice caps. And that night wasn't ideal for seeing. So if we have a really good night, I think we'll get some good detail out of it. I know I'm talking about Mars, but I just wanted to let this video play through and give you an idea of what's coming up in October. And then as we approach December, I think it's on the winter solstice, December 21st, we'll have the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And they'll get so close to each other that with just a pair of binoculars or a wide field view in a telescope, you'll see detail on Jupiter and Saturn at the same time. The rings of Jupiter, the equatorial gas bands, the rings of Saturn and the equatorial gas bands of Jupiter and its moons, as well as Saturn's moons, you'll get that all in one image. So that's really exciting. So that's December. I'll do some deep sky observing. That's really what I want to do next with my portable telescope, especially before it gets too cold to be outside like that. I could always sit inside comfortably, I guess, and control it remotely. Maybe I can make that work. Okay, let's see. Let's move on over. First, I want to show you for this next view. Let me get rid of this, and we'll go to the narrow field. Now you can see. Oh, actually, this is not the good one. We can always go back to any of the ones we skipped, but this is the better one because I think I move it into a better full screen view. So this required a different camera setup. And that's why you have all this information off to the right-hand side. If you've seen our planetary streams before, or even our lunar streams, we've used this camera. This is called the ZWO, ZWO one-shot color. And let me get it out of the box here. So this is what it looks like. It's a nice red color. And it's nice and compact too. You can think of it sort of as a specialized webcam for astrophotography. And currently it has the lens on it that we use for all sky views. When I say all sky, we can actually use this camera to see a 180-degree field of view of the sky and see all the stars that are out there, any planets, the moon, very zoomed out. Like it's a different experience from how even your eye sees the world. You're seeing the sky all at once. And it was really handy for the meteor shower. And during the Taurids or Orionids, we might try that again with this. But you take this section out and you put in this adapter, which is another eyepiece adapter that goes right in here. And you hook it up to the scope. It sits right on the back. And it gives you a very narrow field, so a really magnified field of view, and that's what you see on the display here. So let's go ahead and full screen this, and I'll let it play through some here, and then we'll start seeing if we can find those Apollo missions. I gave you a good idea of the craters and the seas, so you can see what shows up as those images pass, or those features pass. This is also a correct field of view. So it's as you expect the objects to be across the surface. It's not flipped. The reason I've said, the image can be flipped or mirrored or anything like that, or rotated, is based on how the camera is seated in the scope and also how the optics of the scope affect your field of view. So sometimes you can have a telescope that flips it or rotates it. That's not the case here. This is as you expect. You can see the Mickey Mouse. So that's where it was on our previous shot. We're just zoomed in a lot more. So we're moving along the terminator now. You can see that mountain range. That's the Sea of Showers. And we just I was just scanning around the moon last night. Apologize for some of those little dusty particles. They become more exaggerated with an object like the moon, but you could remove those in a processed image. There's my that nice crater again. Showed up really bright last night because of the angle of the sun hitting the moon. Yeah, that tri-star effect really becomes exaggerated here. I really like that crater. Proclus, I think it was again. It has a very geometric shape. I appreciate it. Yeah, Proclus. And again, we're swinging down below, looking at some of that ejecta off those brighter craters. I see those brighter ones, but I can't quite. Text sort of covers it up. That's a valley, actually, we just passed over. So similar, you can think, as far as the topographical nature of that area, it'd be similar to our New York area, where we have a lot of valleys, right? Lots of hills and dips. That bright feature we just passed over was the valley. There's a couple craters in there too, but. Let's see how the sky's behaving again while that plays through for you. Still nothing. It seems like it's overcast because again, no light from the moon is getting through. Just too bad. You might have a new comment here. Nope. We're focused on this area. Let's skip ahead and see if we moved around a little bit more. There we go. Back up towards the seas. So let's pause it here, because I think we have Apollo 11. Oh, no. Where are we here? Let's go back down. Oh, no, that might be Apollo. Okay, yeah, this is the Sea of Tranquility. Oh no, Sea of Serenity here. This is the Sea of Tranquility here. So yeah, I would be just down here. Yeah, I think right in here somewhere. All right. We have this bright crater here. And there's our two craters from before. Yeah. Okay, I see what we're doing here. So let's bring up this up. Apollo 11. Okay, yep. So here is, again, Ritter and Sabine. And this is where Apollo 11 should be. So if we go back to our view, Ritter and Sabine. And Apollo 11 is just above this bright crater here. So we just go, right there. So where my mouse pointer is, that is where Apollo 11 landed. Right in here, the exact spot where Apollo 11 landed. So this is one of the things that you can do at home, is you can take your telescope or binoculars and start touring the moon like this, and finding these locations and looking at them yourself directly through some optical instrument. It is a really I guess, special experience to do that yourself and observe the moon up close yourself, and learn the stories from our actual human exploration of the moon and being there, to the mythology behind the moon, or the culture, just in general, the cultural history of the moon. There's a lot to learn there. Now, do we go to 17? Oh yeah, we should be able to see 17. So there's that Proclus crater. Gosh, I just love that. It's such a cool feature. So actually 17 is right in here. This dark spot right in there, and these set of craters there. So 17, this one's gonna be tough, because we just didn't have quite the right amount of seeing last night, so we're losing some clarity here. But I think, yeah, maybe. My guess is, let me identify these craters here. Yeah, okay. So this is, I believe, crater Vitruvius. And next to it there we have Gardner, right here. Vitruvius and Gardner, and up here is Maraldi. So, can't quite see the X on my black and white view. Let's go down here. So here's Apollo 17. Yeah, I think this right here is Vitruvius. Yep, so this is Vitruvius here in this image. Let's go back to ours. Vitruvius, Gardner, Apollo 17 is right there. That was the landing zone. So our clarity it's definitely wasn't great last night. We were definitely looking through some haze, but I would say that that's pretty decent considering the conditions, and we're actually able to see these smaller details, and at least make out these gradient differentials in the field of view. Like, this is dark, this is bright, right? There's enough information there to actually pull out where these missions occurred and where they landed. Pretty cool. All right. That was Apollo 17. And again, while we're waiting for any of the sky conditions to change, we can just keep going there. We missed 16. We went to 11. Let's see if we can narrow down 16. It's kind of fun. Again, it's something you can explore at home too. Go on your own scavenger hunt of the moon. Okay. There's that. Do I actually go up? It looks like it's a little bit out of view there. So let me see if I backtrack at all. Oh, yeah, it looks like I did there. Maybe. Nope. Oh, right there. Where's this gap? We have that gap there. Okay, yep. I don't think we're quite there yet. I need to go up. Ah, right in here. And again, this is where having a live feed would be great, because then I can just pan right to it. But instead, I have to sort of sift through the information. But that's okay. So here's our Mickey Mouse. And Apollo 16 is in this brighter region here. In fact, it's right next. We go back to 16. Yeah, it should be right in here. And it's so interesting to think, like, humans went to that spot, and I mean, just for any of these in general, it's amazing. But as far as like our personal experiences here at Kopernik, when we've had that Apollo 16 moon rock, astronaut John Young landed in that spot, picked up that rock, brought it back. Now we usually get this fragment of the larger rock they took home, but it is just a fascinating thing that's where it came from, and it came all the way back to Earth. All right. Pretty nice views. I want to look at that mountain range. Come on, go up. Oh, you know what? We should skip over we could go over to the other video, because there I think I do adjust the exposure levels, which is ideal for some crisper shots of that darker area of the moon. Yeah, there we go. So there's that mountain range. The Apennines. Or Apennines. Or Apennines. One of the three. Okay. All right. So, I'm not sure. Maybe what I'll do, we'll let this one play through, and then we'll go to one of the other wide view videos. Because I'm really not liking our chances of doing a proper live stream tonight. Yeah, it's just our clear sky chart was giving us hope, but I think it's just overcast. Sadly. Again, if anyone's new to the channel, consider subscribing. The nice part about our observing live streams is that we can pick and choose our observing dates based on when it's clear. That's what we've been doing for the most part. We try to push it towards the weekend because that's when we know most of you are available. But occasionally we do a weekday stream, and especially if the conditions are going to be exceptional for observing, then we definitely commit to that. But we do usually try to post the night before on the channel, that we have a scheduled stream for that, just so you know as you go into the day what to expect from us. Ideally, if we have a program organized around it, then we let you know in advance. I love that Proclus crater. It's so cool. Oh, you know what? I just realized I didn't full screen this. Sorry about that. Moving down. Now, if you look carefully on the edge of the field of view, oops, where'd my mouse go? Right around here. And this becomes even more clear through processed images or direct view. You'll notice the moon is not a smooth surface. That's one of the easiest ways to tell, beyond just the craters all over the place and the shadow effects. But when you look at the edge, you can see mountains. You can see the dips in the craters, and it's a really nice effect. Get rid of that media bar for you. But yeah, as we head towards the terminator, look at how sharp those craters get. Really nice. Now, what I may do too with the process data that I have, not so much here from the ZWO, just because I really didn't pay that much mind last night for using it as actual data for a processed image. I think I will take the clips I got from the mirrorless camera and process a nice sharp view of the moon in the wide angle shot. That 4K data has a lot of resolution behind it and a lot of clarity, so we should be able to get some really crisp shots after we stack the image and get rid of some of the noise. So look out for that. Again, I do want to show you that process at some point, what I'm learning there. And if you want to start exploring image stacking, it's really easy to get into and improves your pictures by multitudes. It's well worth the effort, I think, though it does take time to learn and to actually perform. But there's really great software out there, and a lot of it's free, which is amazing. The community the astrophotography community, or just the astronomy community in general, is very open source, and open to newcomers. We're always encouraging each other to keep exploring and keep imaging and studying. Now you can see throughout this video I might adjust the exposure, especially as I come down here. Yep, there we go. That exposure level gets adjusted so you can make out the detail, because it's not a uniform, as you can clearly tell, especially as we approach the terminator, it's not a uniform brightness across the moon. It's not being uniformly lit by the sun. You have that sunlight hitting indirectly in some areas or spot on in some areas. And that's what we're seeing here across the edges. This is where you get the most direct sunlight. So that's why these areas, there are already brighter areas on the moon, but they also get overexposed by that direct sunlight. Well, that's the end of that one. So let's go back to that one of the wide angle shots. I think we'll wait until 10 o'clock just to see if there's one final hope let's take a look at the clear sky chart to see if it updated at all. Or we can also go to weather underground too. Let's go this first. Uh-oh. Why not? Oh, okay. Well, maybe just weather underground then. One underground. There we go. I don't know why our site's not working. That's weird. Okay. 10-day. This will give us a nice view of what we expect the conditions to be. Ooh. Oh boy. Well, that's no good. It's just going to get worse as the night goes on, almost getting to 100% coverage. Well, that's too bad. Well, we'll still plan to wait until 10. One last hope, and then think about wrapping it up at that point. So if you do have any final questions, let me know in the chat. And I will play that wide angle shot, I think. This is the highest resolution one, so we'll go back to this one for anyone that didn't see it. Okay, full screen. There we go. All right. Yeah, that's really crisp footage, and I think it's coming across reasonably well on your end as well. But again, it's not the full resolution file, so we'll see what we can do about posting this video footage. Maybe the panning shot would be better because this is mostly a static image, but each frame of this video feed has a different set of details. The uniqueness of each, well, I guess we'll say each frame is unique in terms of what type of lunar data it collected, what type of image data it collected. Some areas on the moon are going to be higher clarity than others at any given time. And that's the idea behind stacking, is you can take the data from one part of the image and stack it on top another that has higher clarity data elsewhere, keep stacking that data on top of each other, and then eventually you end up with a very low noise image and a very high clarity image. So I think we'll be able to get some good views out of this. But, oh, there was something that just flew over the lens there, the camera from last night. I'm not sure what it was, probably a bug. So there is some dynamics to this. Like we also saw some clouds passing in front of the moon. So that's nice too, but I'll post for sure the panning shot of the moon because that has some more intrigue behind it as far as the what you're actually seeing. But you can see occasionally, if you look in one given spot in the image, you'll see some detail move in and out. Some of the crater detail, the mountain detail, you'll see it move, like get fuzzy and then come back, and then get fuzzy again and then move back to a sharp view. That's the kind of noise you want to get rid of everywhere on the moon. At any given point, that's occurring somewhere across our field of view here. So we want to just mitigate it altogether and only get the good detail. Oh, we have some people saying goodbye. So yeah, have a good night, those that are leaving. And thank you for joining us as well. Take a peek outside. I'll be right back. Okay, so I think we are going to wrap things up for the evening. Um, as we saw on the weather, weather underground, it looks like it's only gonna continue to get worse in our area. Geez, my glasses fogged up from wearing my mask. Um, so yeah, it's only gonna get worse in our area. But if you have the moon visible in yours, I definitely encourage you to keep looking, keep observing. I know NASA might still have their stream running. If not, I encourage you to go watch their replay on their channel because they have, of course, a bunch of good content for International Observe the Moon Night as well. We will continue to run these streams, and next up, like I mentioned, is Mars for sure. And I would like to do some deep sky objects as soon as we get past full moon and back into some dark skies. We will have to wait for that because right now we're still waxing. So we're approaching full moon, and that's no good for deep sky stuff, unfortunately. So be on the lookout. We'll keep you updated on those. And thanks for joining us once again. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.